Greetings, Glitter Gang. It's 10:15 on Thursday, April 29th. You're here for Kathryn Scraps Live. I'm Kathryn, and this is part of the book club journal project, which is my National Scrapbook Day 2021 project. I have just finished getting the wrapper all set up, and it's now under this mat, getting nice and flat while the glue dries. And so what we're going to do now is we're going to move on to we're going to move on to working on the page elements. So the 3 page elements will be next. So what I'm going to do is get my pumpkin scraps, find where I put, do vampires show up in photos? Okay, so there's a theory that vampires would show up on DSLR digital photos, because the reason that they didn't show up in photos or in mirror is because photos, you needed silver to process them, or there are some cameras that had mirrors in them, and so that wouldn't work. But if you have a mirrorless camera that's digital and doesn't require development with silver nitrate or whatever, then you could get a picture of a vampire. So in our vampire crafting books, I can't believe we're talking about this, but whatever, someone should take notes. In our vampire crafting books, we could do a hand wave. I gave The Storied Life of A.J. Thickery 3 stars because I think it did what it set out to do. I don't think there are huge flaws that I would point to where I would say that was a technical error, or that was an artistic error, or that was an artistic choice I wouldn't have made. I know I did. Well, I read a bunch of vampire novels. I don't know where the digital camera one came from. It was probably from a vampire detective novel, because, they're the only ones. So yeah, I think A.J. Thickery can have 3 stars because it tried, and I think it mostly accomplished what it set out to do. Did it do it in an extremely superlative way? I don't think so. But I don't think it was super bad either. It just kind of fell right down the middle. And, as we have learned over time, right down the middle is not where we want to be for book club. Right down the middle is, we want to be 2 stars or 4 stars. We don't want to be 3 stars. Fran says I had to read 50 Shades because my niece wanted to see the movie that was going to come out, and I told her mother I'd read it and tell her if it was safe. Oh, that's unfortunate that you had to have that experience, Fran. That's sad for you. So that's sad for you. All right. Okay. So this is done. We did this. So we don't need to do this anymore. It is a terrible book. And not just the content. I mean, it's just the writing is horrifically bad. This is horrifically bad. Okay. All right, so now this is the section that we're working on. So this is the thing that we will stick to those pieces that we just glued in to the wrapper. So we need to create 3 15-inch by 17.5-inch pieces of cardstock. So so that's the first thing we do, and we do that by getting a 6-inch by 7.5-inch piece and a 9-inch by 7.5-inch piece. So again, it's going to take 5 pieces of cardstock to make all of them, but I will save my scraps, and hopefully that'll be worth it. Um, 50 Shades of Grey is not what I would say is a superlative example of what transformative fiction can be. So, and that is, And that's why it's real unfortunate that it's like the most famous example of transformative fiction. So people are just kind of like, ew. By the way, speaking of transformative fiction, everyone, you got to brace yourselves for the Great Gatsbys that are coming, because that just went into the public domain, and authors have been prepping transformative works based on the Great Gatsby for years. They've just been waiting to publish them for the book to go in the public domain. Kitty is just like fully committed to lying on the craft text. All right, so we have our 3 pieces of 6" by 7.5 inch. And now we need 3 pieces of 9" by 7.5 inch. So there's going to be a lot of Great Gatsby. Once they start pushing them all out, we can have a book club where we just read, where the 3 choices are all in reinterpretations of the Great Gatsby. Which I think is an overhyped book. But I recently read an article that was like, if you think it's an overhyped book, you should read it as an adult and maybe you'll change your mind. And I was like, maybe, but then I'd have to read The Great Gatsby. So I don't know if I want to know if I'm wrong that bad. All right, 6" by 7.5 inches, 9" by 7.5 inches. These get stuck together to become 15" by 7.5 inches. So we just stick them together. Now these I am going to stick together, you know, with my scrapbooking tape. Read the Sun Also Rises. That has one of the best lines, which is, when people ask me how I went bankrupt, I answer gradually then suddenly. And it's like, what a metaphor for like life and the terrible things that happen to you that are somewhat of your own making. Read The Old Man and the Sea, Kathryn's favorite. Maybe that's another book I need to read as an adult. Hemingway does have good, you know, like one-liners. Like, man, he is really good. Like, I really like spare writing, and he's definitely a master at that. I can admit that. Okay, I can admit that. You do, yeah, try to purge the religious interpretations from your brain. Look, it's just a fish, okay? It's just a fish, and he's just a guy, and that's it's just a shark, you know, it's just... Yeah, it's really just a fish that gets eaten by other fish before he gets home. Yep. That's really all that's going on. There's nothing else going on. I read a post-apocalyptic book that was just recently, and it was extremely hopeful, which I thought was really interesting, because usually with post-apocalypse, you get kind of like the Cormac McCarthy doom and gloom, and it's worse. Whatever the worst thing you can think of, it's going to be worse than that, you know. But I read The Lightest Object in the Universe by Kimmy Eisel, and it was just like about the resilience of human beings and the power of community, and how, like, you know, if something really bad happens, we'll probably figure it out. And it was an interesting take. You don't see that much with that genre. Like, bad things have happened before and we figured it out, you know, that kind of thing. All right, so I'm just using scrapbooking tape to glue these all together, essentially. And they're going to be, this is going to be on the inside, so no one's going to see this tape. All right, so I think I have to, nope, I'm just going to leave it. Just live with it. Yeah, that's Cormac McCarthy. So the road is kind of like, as far as post-apocalyptic like literature goes, the road is the one, is like the you know. But that's one of those, like, staring into the void, and the void stares back at you, you know. All right, so this 15-inch thing needs to get scored an inch in from each edge. So on the 15-inch edge, it's like 1 inch and 14 inches, but because it's 1 inch and 14 inches, you just kind of have to turn it around. I remember growing up reading the Swiss Family Robinson and thinking that they really made the best out of a bad situation. But I was young when I read it, so I'm like, any scenario where you get to ride an ostrich doesn't sound that bad, you know? So. All right, so let's see what else we have. So we're going to just, again, you know, there's 3 of these. So everything we're doing multiples of, because, you know, it is a book with 3 elements. But yeah, AJ Fikry, you know, it's not going to go on my best of this year, and it's not going to go on my worst of this year. It was just kind of in the middle. I don't think it did anything for me, but it was a fine time while I was reading it. It didn't make me super mad. So, you know, it was just kind of in the middle. But unfortunately, in the middle is not great for like discussion. So okay. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to add tape to the flaps and then cut the corners. I read all 3 books this month, and I don't think any of them would have made like a really great conversation, although I think in the bookshop on the corner, at least there was that crazy wild family. Not the bookshop on the corner, The Bookish Life of Nina Hill. And then on the bookshop of the corner, there was some stuff going on, like if we wanted to talk about the closure of libraries and public funding and things like that. Speaking of, I have an idea. I'm so glad we talked about libraries closing. Thank you all for bringing it up. My library I saw an ad on Facebook for my library that has a new service where you tell them 3 books that are your favorite book and why, and then they mail you 3 books that they think you'll like to your house, and then you read them and you take them back to the library. So I was trying to think of a way for us to do that for book club, where the 3 books that we sent in, you know, were maybe like top picks from book club that we all really enjoyed, and then maybe they would send, and then the 3 books they sent us would be books to vote on one month. But I thought that might be interesting to see, but I don't know how we would pick the 3 books that we would send to the librarians. But I definitely thought that it was an interesting sounding service. Well, that was the thing. Like, I didn't know how to get the 3 books that we all agreed that we loved, because I mean, the only books I've given 5 stars in book club, I think, are A Christmas Carol and Kindred. And I don't know what you would get if you sent that in. Like, I don't even, whatever the 3rd book is, you know, like, they would probably be like, what? We could send them 3 books we hated and see if we love their recommendations. That would be funny. We could send them Cinder, The Winter People, and Jacob T. Marley. And then they would be like, who is this person? What's wrong with them? And can we ban them from the library? What was the Reese Witherspoon book? I already forgot, see? That's how, these, you know. Well, that was, what was March? We could send them The Art of Fielding. Ew. They would just make us read Moby Dick. So. Oh, erotic stories from Punjabi widows. Oof. At least there was a lot going on in that book. At least there was a lot going on in that book. There was plenty to discuss. Oh, my goodness. Erotic stories for Punjabi widows came up on the list of books that I was looking at when I was looking for books with pools on the title for this month, for not for this month, for June, because I was like looking at books to read in the summer, because I thought maybe that if I looked at lists of books to read in the summer, some of them would have pools, and that is how I came across the Kevin Kwan book. But Erotic Stories was on there, and I was like, is that a book to read in the summer? What? I was like, who put this on this list? They clearly did not read this book. It's like, I was like, because I'm not sure. I think this is a beach read. All right. So, you missed the discussion of Erotic Stories? Choice. Well, we were able to use it later when we had to explain to Judy what an unsolicited dick pic was. We're like, it's when a gentleman sends you a picture of his aubergine. It's like, because that was used frequently in Erotic Stories. We could write discussion questions without ever reading the book. That's right. Okay. All right, so we've got those now. So now each of these needs 6 5.5 by 5.5 inch squares. So what we have to do is I'm going to go through my scraps and see if any of my scraps are big enough. Most of my scraps are not big enough. When you get unsolicited aubergines, I know. We talked about that was in Nina Hill, which was one of the books from this month. Is why does anyone think we would like an unsolicited aubergine in our inbox? Okay. So I think I can get 3 out of these, and I need 18, so good luck to me, I guess. All right, so there's 3. I need 15. I can get 4 out of a sheet of cardstock. So 4, 8, 12, 16. Okay. Hi, Tiny Cat. What are you doing? I didn't know you were up here. Are you just chilling with Kitty? That's kind of weird. Or are you up to no good? Are you up to no good? Are you up to no good? Kitty is sharing the craft text. She's not though. Actually. Poor Tiny Cat. Tiny Cat gets no craft text. Okay, so let's count these and make sure that we really do have enough, because we need 18. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Okay, 18. So all of these get scored in a Z fold at 1 inch and 4.5 inches. So you flip it over end, and then score it 4.5. Okay, and then you just do that so many times. Score it at 1, flip it end over end. So yeah, I thought the most interesting thing that happened in AJ Thickery was like maybe there was a murder. All right, so this is definitely a book where there's lots and lots of cardstock, but there's not lots and lots of pattern paper. So oh, and before I glue these down, I'm going to show you how you can use the scoreboard to mark where these need to be glued down to save yourself some time. Okay, so hopefully I will remember to do that before I put my scoreboard away, because how and where these get glued is really critical to the construction. So I want to show you how to do that. All right, but you know, this is the kind of book where you, because there is so much assembly, what you want to do is, you know, get yourself a nice glass of something, put on your jams or your show that you want to watch, and just settle in, you know, because it's a lot. Everyone's now telling unsolicited aubergine stories in the chat. That's that's a good point, Gretchen. So Gretchen says this would be a good project if you've got like a few sheets of a really special collection where it's not enough to do a whole big book, but where you want to highlight those sheets, because nothing is going to cover any of the pattern paper in this book. That's the other thing. Okay, so those are all done. Let me show you how you can use your scoreboard here. All right, so we need to mark every 1.5 inches, okay? So really simple. Just put your piece in your scoreboard, then grab a ruler. I have to do this with my left hand, but it's not the end of the world. And we're going to go every 1.5 inches. So 1.5 inches. Then we go to 3. Then we go to 4.5. Then we go to 6. Then we go to 7.5. And we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lines. So our last line will be at 9. Okay. And so now when we go to stick all our pieces down, it'll be easy peasy. Okay. Oh, look at Fran's. She's like, if you turn it upside down, you can use your right hand. But then you would have to know what the reverse of all these measurements was, which you can definitely figure out. I'm not going to, because my brain is small and the part that does math has atrophied. Oh, she said she would turn the whole board around, so then she wouldn't have to do the math, but she would. Okay, gotcha. Gotcha. And when you do this, I do recommend you go all the way from the top to the bottom, including the tab. It'll be easier. That was smart thinking on Fran's part. Now, if you're left-handed, this is perfect for you. Or just use a skinnier ruler. Look at all you with your smart ideas when I'm almost done. All right, I'm done. Okay. All right. So now let me just explain. Let me explain to you how this works. Easy peasy. Okay. These, they get glued here, one on each line. So we're going to go boom, boom. We're going to go boom, boom, boom. But before we can do that, we have to add tape to all of our flaps. So that's going to be a minute, but ultimately what we're going to have is this pocket that holds 7 tags in these little slots that we made. So 7 tags, big enough to hold 4x6 photos or anything else will go in this one pocket, and we've got 3 of these pockets. So that's what's happening. All right. So first thing first, we got to fold along all the score lines and burnish. And then keep on trucking. So tonight I'm not going to get down all the construction, but we'll at least have these three things, these done, so that the only thing we have to do is start with the flaps on National Scrapbook Day, and then go from there. But we'll at least get all these pockets done tonight. So, yeah, I don't know about AJ Fickery. I don't know. You know, books I think that are going to be good, they aren't. Books that I'm not sure about often are great. My favorite book I read this year so far is a book that the premise sounded really kind of weird, and I wasn't sure if I was going to like it. So, and then there were books that I really expected to like, and I didn't. So, the video, not this part, but the part where I make it and go over all the measurements will be up before, so you should be okay. But I don't know if this part will go up before the class, because with YouTube penalizes you if you put too many videos up in a row. Like if you put videos up day after day, you have to put breaks in between. So I have to space them out. So I can't do too many all at once, unfortunately. But yeah, at least the planning videos will be up in time for you to do the prep, for sure. And it's all going to be in the archives, of course, as well. And all the videos from today and National Scrapbook Day will be up by the time we have the next Thursday class. So if any of this is going to carry over, which it might, we'll at least be caught up by the time we get to next Thursday in terms of recordings. Okay, so I'm going to make a tape bracelet, and we're just going to tape all of these, but we have to tape, you know, both sides. And there's 18 of them, so it's going to take a minute to do all the taping. I read a bunch of them years ago. I think I stopped around 13. But I read a bunch of those, the Stephanie Plum books. But I'm not all the way caught up if she's still writing them. Yeah, YouTube wants you to post regularly, but not all the time. So like, they want you to post at least once a week. And you can post a couple, 2-3 times a week, but they don't really like posting multiple times a day or, you know, too many days all in a row for some reason. Okay, so now I can do so they're pretty particular about what they want. She's up to about 27 now. Wow. Is Stephanie getting older, or is she like permanently stuck in her 30s? I saw the movie, but I didn't like the movie. That's probably why they only made... The tape does go on the other side. No! Darn it. Maybe I'll be able to peel it off without too much trouble. Well, that's what happened to me, Candy. So Candy says she thinks that she stopped around 12 or 13 and then was waiting for the series to end. I started after I had caught up with what had been written and was in mass market paperback, and then they started coming out in hardcovers, and I was like, I'm not paying hardcover prices to read these books. And that was before I was really good about using the library. No, that's okay. Teresa, I would not blame you yourself. Well, and Patricia Cornwell's Scarpetta books, I kind of did that too, and then I got caught up and everyone was like totally nuts. Like, I was like, what happened? Those definitely went off the rails. Like, people were trying to steal her identity and impersonating her and like all kinds of weird. They all moved to Florida, and there was like just weird. It was just weird. Okay. All right. I got it up well enough, so we're all good. So I never finished that series. I don't know if she's still writing them, but I was like, wow, this is totally bizarre. Well, once you go to Florida, it's all over. All right, so I'm going to take these 6 and I'm going to show you how they go in this so you can see that. But really all you do is peel the tape just off one side, okay? Not both sides, just one. And then line it up with the pencil line and burnish it, and then this will fold over and wait a second. Why is that bumping into the edge? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's only 5 of these. Okay. There's only 5 of them. So you don't need to draw that line at 9. Ugh. That's right. The last pocket is bigger. That's what we did. We left it big. All right. NBD. So we only need 15, correct. 5 per 15 total. All right, so I'll just throw this one away because I have extras. I'm going to set this one to the side so it can dry and use a different one. All right, let's try again. All right, there we go. That looks more normal. So don't do the last line. Don't do the 9-inch line when you're drawing your pencil lines. And then you just stick these down. And I know it just looks like nothing. I did make the back taller, but the back is already glued into the book. So that piece, that 8-inch piece that we stuck down is the back. So the backs to these are already in the book, but I'll pull the book out and show you where this goes, how this goes. Okay. But essentially, when this gets folded all together and this bottom piece gets folded up, this all looks like nuts, but what it is going to make is this kind of this pocket that holds 6 things that are 4x6. Okay, so let me pull it out and just show you. Okay. So probably the best way to go about this will be to peel the tape just off the bottom and line the bottom up, and then we can kind of fold it all down. Okay. All right, so give that a little burnish and then flop it back. Yeah, I think we'll do these two will mirror each other so that their flaps are on, when we close it, their flaps will line up. And then this one will have the flaps at the top. So these two will mirror each other, and these two will be the same. But when these are closed, I want their flaps line up. Okay. Now, really, I'd like to put pattern paper here before I stick this closed, but it's okay. It's okay. I can put the pattern paper on after. So now we have to peel all of these tapes. Okay. Oh yeah. So what Fran is saying, Fran said in the chat you can put tape so the tags don't stick. She's talking about this right here, this edge. This is the edge from the flap where it's stuck down. It's kind of hard to see. Here, let me pencil it in so you can see to make it easier. So this is the edge we just stuck down. And sometimes when you stick things in a pocket, they can catch on this lip. So Fran's saying if you take some tape, you know, you can run tape across this lip and that'll keep the tags from sticking on it. Well, Gretchen, that's what I mean when I say I wanted to put pattern paper on the back. Like I wanted to put pattern paper. Should I just print out a piece of pattern paper and stick it down so that we don't have to stress about it? I mean, we're already over time, so why not? Fran says she uses ugly washi tape she doesn't like anymore. So there you go. So there's an option. If only I had known that the way to keep cats off my desk was to lay craft text on the floor. Okay. Here we go. All right, let's pick a pattern of paper. So here are some choices. We've got this, which I just think is so fun and beautiful. We have this. We have this, which is also great. And I'm going to show you how to turn these into, should we do the owls? What should we do? What should we do? The books with this pattern? Let's see. Oops. We got the books. I'm gonna not do this. Not do this. If I do book stacks, I'm gonna do owls. Maybe. No. Maybe. So this, I think all right. So I think the owls. Let's just do the owls. Let's do the owls. They're just too cute not to do something with. Oops, I just closed the owls. Dagnabbit. It's okay. They're back now. Okay, so the owls right now are 8 by 8. What I'm going to do is I'm going to resize them to make them 6 by 6. And we're going to use 4 of them to make a 12 by 12. So right here I have a 12 by 12 canvas. And what that's going to do is that's going to shrink the owls a little bit so that we get more owls, you know. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight all 4 of those layers I just made, and I'm going to merge them. And now I have one 12 by 12 sheet. So I can drop that 12 by 12 sheet on my 13 by 9. Actually, I don't need to make a new canvas. I can just print it directly from here. Most important thing is when I close this and it asks me if I want to save my changes, I say no. I say no, I don't want to save my changes. And that wasn't that hard at all. That wasn't that hard at all. There we go. Hey, kitty. What you doing? Hi, Tiny. What you doing? Oh, you're crying? Not you, tiny cat. Not you. Me. All right, so I'm going to put paper in the printer so we can print it out. Okay, I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. I get the message. You are lacking in pets, huh? Yeah? Oh, my goodness. Not enough pets. Not enough pets. Poor little tiny cats. All right, you can have pets while the paper is printing, okay? Is that okay? Thank you. If you give Tiny pets, then she's quiet. This is probably a bad strategy because if we pet her when she cries, then she's just going to cry more. So really, we should not pet her when she cries. But her cries are so cute. What are you going to do? They're so adorable. Oh, shoot. I printed this paper 12 by 12. I have to print it 13 by 13. Tiny cat, what have I done? I have to print it again. Gosh, now I remember why I opened a 13 by 19 file, because I had to print it. Since my cardstock here is 13 inches across, I need to print my paper 12 3/4 inches. Sigh. In order to get it big enough. So that's annoying. I mean, I can use this paper for something else later, of course. It's just, you know, just added time. Yeah. Meow. You making funny noises? You making funny noises? Oh. You just want everyone on camera to feel sorry for you, huh? You want them to feel sorry for you. Yeah. Just rolling around on the floor looking adorable. Yeah. Okay. No more pets. Look how pretty this paper is, though. How cute will those owls be sticking out the top? So here's what I'm going to do. I know that we said that we don't want to stick it down first. But here's what I think we really need to do. I think we need to stick it down. And then we're gonna cut the paper so that it looks like we stuck it down inside. And that'll hide all of our flaps. All right. But here's how that kind of pocket looks. And so here, let me get some, oh, I have a 4x6 card. Okay. So see, each one of these slots holds a 4x6, well, a tag big enough to hold a 4x6 photo. That's why the cards are disappearing. See? So on National Scrapbook Day, we're going to make tags to go in all these pockets. Okay. But those are big, big pockets, just to give an idea. Big pockets. Okay. All right. So now I'm going to walk back over. Tiny Cat's probably going to yell at me again. Yeah. That was totally expected. I print 12 3/4, and that gives me a little bit of a white border. All right. So I know that that pocket looks weird, but you know, that's really what it does, and I think it's really cool. All right. So what we want here is 1 3/8, a 1 3/8 strip cut off the top. And that's where we're going to start. And I've got to use my biggest ruler because we All right, there we go. 1 3/8. And the reason it's 1 3/8 is because we have 1.5 inches sticking up. And so I want to come 1/8 of an inch down. So that's 1 3/8. All right, so we're going to start there. Then I'm going to just trim this down. I print on 13 by 19 paper, and I do use like a printer paper. This is more like a printer paper weight than it is a cardstock. I like it because it doesn't get as thick when I'm matting. I know that poor owl lost his legs. Okay. I'm going to ink with the gray just because that's what's on my desk. So, and it's a warm gray, so I think it'll be okay. He is a bird after all. He's got to lose his legs. Absolutely. That's true. That's true. No birds keep their legs on this show. I don't know what a box of 100 costs. You can, they sell it in boxes of like 100. I believe is what they sell. Now I did check on their website to see if you could buy huge quantities of it, and you can actually, if you want to really stock up. But I would recommend trying it first, see if you like it. Because it's not for everyone. Some people prefer like a nicer, more true to color paper. And it's important if you're trying to match to a an existing collection that you do use a more true to color paper. So like if you're trying to fill in a collection where you need an extra couple of sheets, but you from what you got from the printer, this is not the paper to use. Okie dokie. So little owl guy is gonna go like so. All right. So that's where the owl's gonna go. But we need 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces that are 5 inches. And then whatever this last one is, this last one's 5.5, right? They're all 5 inches except for the last one, correct? Oh, wait. Or should we just leave the pockets naked? All right, I'm going to start by sticking my owls down. We'll start there. Yeah, so the other thing is that the koala paper is blue looking, okay? So it does have like a bluish tinge to it, in the sense where if you were looking at the paper side by side with another company, the koala paper would look bluer than the other company. But if you don't mix the koala paper with any other paper, then you don't care, or at least I don't care. The fact that it's a little bit bluer, a little bit cooler has never bothered me, really. As long as I print it all on koala paper, it doesn't cause me problems. The only time I have problems is if I print like half a collection on koala, forget that I did that, and then print half of it on Epson and then they don't match. That's when it bothers me, but that's the only time. All right, so here's the sitch. Okay, because the pockets because of this diagonal thing we did with the pockets, I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces of owl paper that are 5 inches wide, and I need one that's like 5.5 inches wide or 5.25 inches wide. You see what I mean? So, and it's going to be impossible to line our owl body up. Like, there's just no way I can line up our owl bodies. So we can either not line the pockets with anything, or we can line the pockets with a coordinating paper, or we could line the pockets with owl paper and just accept that they're not going to line up. So you let me know, what do you think? I mean, it's not very easy to see down in there. You're not going to see much of this paper at all, really. So I don't know if there's a huge benefit to lining. So Gretchen says don't line. I think that's the way to go. I think we don't line, because we would need a tremendous amount of paper to do the lining. And I don't think the benefit is very much, because we only see so very little. So I think no. I agree. We will not line the pockets. But this is what the pocket looks like. So what we're going to do is, we have a lot of square elements in the collection. So we're going to build a really cool, like, embellished scene to go on the front of the pocket once we get on the day, okay, on the day. But now you get an idea of how it all looks when it's all together in the book. I'm just jamming the thing back under my mat so it can continue to flatten over time. Yeah, absolutely. There's going to be tags in there as well. So once the tags are in, you're not even going to see that little bit that is showing. So yeah, don't waste your paper lining them, because the tags will just block it anyway. All right, everyone, that's it for me tonight. But I will be back on Sunday. I'll see you all on Sunday. And then we will keep going with this project. I'll have all the paper printed and everything by Sunday, so that they'll be, we'll be good to just finish our construction and then do our decorating. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. So if you're watching this video before Sunday, May 2nd, 2021, join us at 2 p.m. Eastern USA time here on Kathryn Scraps Live to see the rest of this project come together. Be sure to check this video description to sign up for prizes so that you can have a chance of winning a National Scrapbook Day prize. Winners will be announced during the National Scrapbook Day show. I'll also be doing a sale as well. Details will be announced during the show for that too. In the meantime, have a wonderful evening. Have a great weekend. And I will see you on Sunday. Bye now.